So hi, this is part two, just looking at Isaac's family. So Isaac marries Rebecca. She's not had, doesn't have children for 20 years. He's prayed for her, and God gives her twins. And in her stomach, they start fighting, and she's wondering what's happening, and she went to inquire of the Lord. So she knew God, and God tells her that there are two nations in your womb. The younger will be stronger than the older. Blah blah blah. Now maybe because she had this prior knowledge when they had these children, um she favored the younger person. So Esau was the older, he came out first, and then Jacob was the younger. It's interesting how when she was giving birth, Jacob grasped the heel of his brother as he was coming out of her, and he was named Jacob. They say he grasped the heel, but it also means he deceived. So maybe because she had this special knowledge, maybe God had told her this one, she favored this guy. And that's one thing in families, favoritism does not help. It says that, the Bible says that Isaac preferred Esau, or Esau was his favorite. For the mother, Jacob was her favorite. And it so turned out, the reason is that Esau was the one going out. He liked game hunting and all of that. And because Isaac liked game, they had a natural maybe affinity. And the mother, she was more at home, and Jacob was more the homely type. So he stayed home with her more, and they just kind of had their alliances. But one thing we as parents and family, especially when you have children, parents will say, um, a lot of parents say they have a favorite sometimes, but it's best not to show it. Try not to show it. Try and treat each other, the kids, fairly. That means, of course, that parents need to work together. Now, what now happened? We're going to hear about how this particular wife did not work well with her husband at all. So, what happens? Isaac, as Isaac was getting older, was lost his sight, was losing his sight, couldn't see very well, and it was time for him to bless his heir. And now, of course, Esau, in rivalry had already started between him and his brother, because his brother, I'm sure his mom had been whispering in his ear how God had told her, that's Jacob, how God had told her that Jacob will be he will be greater than his brother, blah blah blah. And what now happened was that one day Esau comes in from the field very hungry, and he sees his brother cooking the stew, and he asks for the stew because he's very hungry. And the brother, calculating and grasping because of this prophecy, maybe, says to him, "Oh, give me your birthright." And he tried to get the birthright through this way, instead of just trusting that whatever God had said would be true, he should do what he just needs to do, live his life, God will bring it to fruition. But he didn't do that. He was busy trying to work it out. And that's what we do. A lot of the time we do that. We may have these ideas, or maybe even prior knowledge, or maybe it's been shown to you in a dream, this is what's going to happen. We now start trying to help God sort it out. Let God do his thing. You do the righteous thing. But he insisted that his brother sell him his birthright with this pot of stew. And Esau, of course, because he did not value he didn't see the value or understand the value of his being the firstborn, said, okay, you can have it, and sold it. A word of caution, please, to mothers, especially in Nigeria. This is what we do. All these things we whisper in the ears of our favorite children, especially when you have sons. Oh, you're the man of the house. Oh, da, 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 da. You're just messing them up. I'm sorry. You're not helping them get anywhere good. Instead, teach them to love God. Teach them to worship God. Teach them to follow Him. Teach them to be honorable people. Teach them to be servants. Teach them to be better. All this whispering in their ears, telling them how they are favored, how they are this one, it makes people's heads swell, and they start doing funny things to people. We see it in our families a lot, and sometimes they have this entitlement mentality. So of course, what now happens? She goes, deceives her husband when he now wanted to bless the children. That's Jacob. When he wanted to bless his first son, because it was the first son, she went off and deceived her husband. How did she do this? She overheard him saying to Esau, she overheard her husband Jacob saying to Esau that he should go and get game and come and make him some meat, food, and he will now bless him and give him the blessing of the firstborn. What does this babe do? She goes off, tells her son that this is what your father is planning. Come, let's do this. Let's cook the meal the way he likes it. We'll get game. Let's cook the meal. She now took some of her first son's clothes, put it on this her favorite son, put hair on him, because of course Esau was very hairy, Jacob wasn't, and off he went, brought the prepared stew because he knew his father couldn't see, and went and deceived his father into giving him the blessing. Now that's where you get that expression. His father heard his voice and said, "But that's the voice of Jacob. Come forward, come, let me touch you." Touched him and smelt the clothes and said, "Oh, but that's Esau's feel." So sometimes we hear it's the hands of Jacob. Is it? Sorry, the voice of Jacob, but the hand of Esau. And to me, people are trying to deceive you. They're putting forth some people, but they're working from behind to do stuff, which is very common in Nigerian politics, but that's another topic for another day. And that's what they did. So this woman and her son deceived uh, the patriarch of the family, deceived Jacob, so that her son could get this blessing because she was determined to try and get it for her son at all costs. And of course, by the time Esau found out and cried and da 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 da, it was too late, and Esau grew to hate his brother for this. So deceit, lying doesn't help. It destroys families. So what happened in this case? Of course, when Esau was now planning that when his father dies, he's going to kill Jacob, the mother got wind of it. She now sent Jacob off to her brother's place, and made him run away. So what did she really gain from deceiving her husband? Yes, her son got the blessing, which God had already planned to give anyway, but she tried to work out the blessing for herself. We do this a lot, we say, "Oh, okay, I'm meant to do this, we want to get this promotion." We'll do all sorts of things that are ungodly, even go and sleep with somebody, or even go and steal, or we cheat in the exams because we want to get this thing, because we believe God has promised us that we'll be promoted. Whereas the blessings of God leave no sorrow. So if God is really blessing you, you will do what is right and trust that He will do His part in due time. In this case, what now happens with Rebecca? The result was that she lost out. Her favorite son was away from home for years. I don't even want to be there to understand how damaged that relationship between her husband and her other son must have been. So it's so critical. Again, like I said before, God does not want us lying and deceiving ourselves, and especially deceiving those who love us, and trying to work things out for ourselves. He's in charge, he's in control, he do it. Of course, God being God, even through these mistakes, he did what he wanted to do, which is he still brought forth a great nation from Jacob. But you see the effects of this deceit and how it played out in Jacob's life later on, and how some of the payback he got for this lying he did to his brother was extremely, extremely painful. Watch out for part 3. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of your weekend.